Year 33 MFL members. Historic week in the MFL. Let's get to it. The Gray Squirrels did Hoopton no favors, crushing them, which you'll see definitely affected some playoff seeding. Hoopton could have done themselves a lot of favors by winning that one, but it didn't happen. Gray Squirrels are eliminated at 5-9. Hoopton is in at 7-7, but we'll see where they fall here momentarily. Army falls again. They are also 7-7. West Canaan crushes them. They are 11-3 and the top seed, which becomes relevant for Hoopton as well here shortly. Cleveland loses to Big D. So Big D tried to jump into that number one spot. In the end, it didn't matter too much because there are no bye weeks. So Big D ends up as the number 2 seed. Cleveland is in at 7-7. Tulsa Quakenados, they beat Leavenworth. Leavenworth eliminated, and the Quakenados are asserting themselves heading into the playoffs. San Antonio is out at 6-8, and CDs is out at 3-11. CDs will get the largest portion of rookie money, and they will be throwing out the first player of every round when it becomes live auction time next summer. So CDs is on the clock, if you will. And then Toledo completes the run, goes 7-7, gets into the playoffs, puts Kansas City at 7-7. And so we ended up with 8 teams in the playoffs, and we ended up with 5 teams at 7-7. So here's our standings. First few are pretty easy. As needless to say, had Hoopton been able to complete the defeat of our defending champion, like the season kind of indicated we should have, could have been as high as the 4 seed, but as it turns out, Hoopton's going to be much lower than that. So West Canaan is the number 1 seed with an 11-3 record. Big D is the number 2 seed at 10-4, and Tulsa is the 3 seed at 9-5. And then we have 5 teams at 7-7. So here's the way this worked. I take all 5 teams and I look at all the common games among those 5 teams. So just so you know, among all common games, those 5 teams, Cleveland was 3-2, Army was 3-2, Toledo was 3-2, and then Hoopton was 1-3, and Kansas City was 2-3. So once you've looked at all that, and now you have a 3-way tie among Cleveland, Army, and Toledo, you start over on your checks, basically. And really the philosophy here is this, and this is what comes up every year. Once a team, like let's say my team, Hoopton, loses a tiebreaker, okay, to whomever, they cannot get into the playoffs or get into a seeding until everyone who finished ahead of them in that tiebreaker gets seeded, okay? So you get the 5 teams, you take off 2 of them, Hoopton and Kansas City, who were 1-3 and 2-3, because there were 3 teams at 3-2. But then you start over. So now I take who did the best among Cleveland, Army, and Toledo. Believe it or not, Toledo beat both Army and Cleveland this year. So they get the tiebreaker among those 3, because we go head to head. Now, if anybody ever wants to talk about total points, we can do that. I can tell you now that's the way Sleeper does it, and we won't ever have to make any changes if we want to do it that way. If it were a points tiebreaker type situation, I think things would have fallen a little bit differently. I like head to head. I kind of feel like if you beat a team, then you should be in. So when we go back to our standings here, Cleveland right now appears to be the 4 seed. They are not. Based on a points tiebreaker, they would be. But it's actually Toledo. They jump up to the 4 seed because they beat both the Army and the Crashlets. And neither of these teams beat Toledo. So Toledo will go to 4. The Crashlets then get compared to the Army. So now we still don't go to Hoopton, Kansas City. because they already lost a tiebreaker. So now we've got to get Cleveland and the Army. I can't even say that, whatever that word is. So it's just the Army. We got to get them settled before we even go back to Hoopton and Kansas City. And frankly, if you go to the common opponents again, all you're doing is taking Toledo out, which puts still Cleveland and the Army ahead because Toledo beat each of them once, and so you just take off one loss. They're both 3-1, so you're in the same boat. So between Cleveland and the Army, they played each other twice, and they split. So then you go to total points, which makes it Cleveland. So the 4 seed Toledo will play the 5 seed Cleveland. Then you're stuck with the Army, who is left, so they will be the 6 seed. So basically you just jump Toledo 2 spots and move these 2 guys down 1, and then you're set. Okay. Now you go back to Hoopton and Kansas City, and it's very simple. Kansas City beat Hoopton. So Hoopton goes to 8, and Kansas City goes to 7. And we will have an 8-team bracket. Now the seeding does matter because not just for the determining the first round matchup, but once we have our 4 winners from our first round, we will reseed. So let's say West Canaan wins, they will get the lowest seed remaining. So if Kansas City happens to win, then they will have to go play West Canaan. The West Canaan will always get the lower seed remaining. That's the way the NFL does it, so that's the way we'll do it. And then the other game is just the other game. And then the bracket will kind of take care of itself from that point on. As a procedural note here, these last 4 teams, just so you know, the 9 seed is San Antonio. The 10 seed is Leavenworth. The 11 is the Gray Squirrels, and the 12 is CD. So Sleeper actually has this correct. I did go check the head-to-head between Gray Squirrels and Leavenworth. Leavenworth beat them, so they get the 10. Gray Squirrels get the 11. Now, I will be changing the consolation bracket. They have it set up to where 9 plays 12 and 10 plays 11. I don't. And again, your consolation bracket is for some rookie money. So set those lineups. As far as I'm concerned, we continue to do transactions because this is a deep keeper league and those transactions matter. So what I would recommend is set your lineups and see if you can stack on some rookie money. The way it typically works is last place team CDs, they are going to end up with, I think we go with 7 million back in the day, which would be 14 points. And then we'll just go Gray Squirrels 13, Leavenworth 12, San Antonio 10, and so on. Now whoever wins the Super Bowl, okay, and your standing does get affected by how you do in the playoffs. So, for example, Hoopton right now is sitting at the 8 seed, but if we happen to win our first round playoff game, then we will be jumping up in the standings, and West Canaan will be falling down. So, if I lose in the Super Bowl, I don't get to go back to the 8 spot. I'll be either 1 or 2, depending on what happens in the Super Bowl. So, just be aware that CDs will play Gray Squirrels for some rookie money. San Antonio will play Leavenworth for some rookie money. And then the next week, the winners will play each other, and the losers will play each other for more rookie money. And then there'll be another round after that. For those people in the playoffs, this first round, you don't get any rookie money, win or lose. But the losers of the playoffs in the first round, those 4 teams, they will be in a little consolation bracket again for some rookie money. So there are some things at stake here. So as we look at the bracket on Sleeper, it is definitely not right. Basically, I have to go in and edit it, and I don't think they let me do that until tomorrow. So just everybody hold your horses on that. And just know that, I'll probably get on it the first thing in the morning and get it going. Waivers will run as usual. So if you have some waiver wire transactions or some money you want to put on somebody, with your free agent acquisition budget that you have remaining, then you should definitely do that tonight, because that's going to run for tomorrow morning. And then, be sure and set your lineups for Thursday night's game. I think it's, I want to say it's something like Saints and Buccaneers or something weird like that, but don't quote me on that. Definitely Google it if you don't know. And just make it happen. Single elimination bracket, so it's just 1 week of a matchup, and it's for the marbles. I'll be talking a little bit next week and the week after about some of my own personal MVP choices. If you've got a thought you want me to add, shoot me a direct message or put it in the chat or something, and I'll be sure and give your whatever player you want to shout out. Also, I'll be talking a little bit about the Hoopton Corn Jerker Ring of Honor, which we will be inducting at least one player into. And like I said, if anybody wants to play along with that, we can definitely make that happen. So looking ahead to week 15, West Canaan Coyotes will play. I have this in the chat here, by the way. Let's see if we can. There we go. See if we can move me out of the way. West Canaan Coyotes will host the Hoopton Corn Jerkers. That is the 1 versus the 8. There is no bye week, so nobody relax. That's for sure. Number 2, Big D will host Kansas City. Number 3, Tulsa will host the Army, and number 4, Toledo will host Cleveland. On the off chance we have a tie game, we do have written down procedures for how we go about figuring that out. We start with total touchdowns, 2-point conversions, field goals, and extra points. If it's still a tie after that, then we do go to total yardage. So if we have to go through all that, trust me, usually I rely on Toledo to help me out with my math on some of that stuff. So if we end up with a weird tie situation, just know we do have some processes written down to handle that. And I'm trying to think of anything else we need to head off at the pass. I really don't think we do. We just need to just get this thing going. So that is your video update for week 14 leading into our playoff weekend. And historic week in the MFL. I don't know that we've ever had this many teams finish 500 or better. I think there was a day back in the day we used to have 8 teams in anyway. Then we shortened it down to 6. And so now I think we finally kind of found that happy medium where, let's see how many teams finish with 7 wins, and then let's figure it out from there. So I'll update brackets tomorrow, and you guys stay safe out there, and I will check back in with you next week.